Hello, I'm Janine Turner, founder of Constituting America. Welcome to Constituting America's annual study. This year's study is entitled The Genius of America, A Journey into Our Republic, a study on Alexis De Tocqueville's Democracy in America. The affairs of the Union are infinitely better conducted than the particular affairs of any state. Alexis De Tocqueville. This essay is entitled On the Federal Constitution, Volume 1, Part 1, Chapter 8, Subchapter 20. Guest essayist, Adam Carrington. In this section of Democracy in America, de Tocqueville claims that the national constitution is superior to those found in the states. In making this case, he points to a broader purpose of his project. As he stated early in the work, de Tocqueville thinks that a general movement toward democratic forms of government are inevitable, part of a providential movement in history. Yet he believes humans possess the ability to make their democracies better or worse. Here he notes two problems democracies tend to face. Both, he claims, the national constitution combats better than its state counterparts. First, de Tocqueville writes that one danger for democracies is the possibility of, quote, the complete enslavement of the legislative power to the will of the electoral body, end quote. One might think this point is a good thing, a feature, not a bug. Should not the lawmakers in a popular government follow the will of the people, who by definition are the sovereign in such regimes? De Tocqueville does not deny the ultimate sovereignty of the people, but he wants the people to exercise their rule in the most thoughtful, moderate, and just way possible. The people do so best through representatives who themselves possess some ability to lead and thus to mold popular opinion rather than merely follow it. This balance, wherein the representatives truly represent but do so with some room to persuade, depends in large part on the terms of office lawmakers hold. In the states, the lawmakers tend to hold 1 to 2 year terms, de Tocqueville notes. This made the representatives constantly dependent on the immediate short-term views of the people. In that mode, the people could be prejudiced, passionate, and irrational, as all persons can be at certain points in life. The national constitution established longer terms, 2 years for the House and 6 for the Senate, with the idea that, quote, lengthened the time of the electoral mandate to allow to the deputy a greater use of his free will, end quote. With some space between elections, lawmakers had some time to persuade voters to appeal to their more settled, rational, and longer-term interest. That space would increase the chances of justice being served, not the mighty feeding on the weak. Second, the French thinker states that democracies tend to result in, quote, the concentration in the legislative power of all the other powers of government, end quote. The Americans had learned from another Frenchman, Montesquieu, that political power was by nature legislative, executive, or judicial, and that free governments divided these tasks among distinct institutions. To combine them descended into tyranny, even if it was the people themselves combining the power. Though having such a distinction on paper, the legislative power tended to dominate in practice. Executives and judges became the puppets of the lawmakers. The national constitution reacted to these problems with a better structure. The president, as national executive, would have a 4-year term, thus giving him the independence that came with length of office. Moreover, the legislature could not coerce him to act in certain ways by diminishing or eliminating his salary. Finally, de Tocqueville points to the veto, whereby the president could stop legislative attempts to minimize or eliminate his inherent constitutional powers. Other guards existed for the judiciary. They, too, would have salary protections, but instead of 4-year terms, the judges, once appointed, held their positions for life, absent willing resignation or the difficult process of impeachment and removal. These judges need not succumb to legislative control, but instead could exercise their own powers in ways that furthered their purpose and checked overreaches from other branches. Taken together, De Tocqueville says the clear result was that, quote, "The affairs of the Union are infinitely better conducted than the particular affairs of any state," end quote. By this claim, he meant the national government operated in a more moderate, wise, intelligent, stable, and firm manner. Doing so was about much more than simple efficiency. De Tocqueville saw in the national constitution mechanisms that preserved the people's liberty against its many foes. The national constitution channeled decision-making, the exercise of power in ways more likely to result in justice. We would be wise to listen to de Tocqueville's wise observations. It not only will make us better students of this country, it might make us better citizens of it here and now. This essay was written by Adam M. Carrington. Adam M. Carrington is an associate professor of politics at Hillsdale College. There, he teaches on matters of constitutional law, American political institutions, and separation of powers. His writing has appeared in such popular forums as the Wall Street Journal, The Hill, National Review, and Washington Examiner. His book on the jurisprudence of Justice Stephen Field was published in 2017 by Lexington. Carrington received his BA from Ashland University and his MA and PhD from Baylor University. He lives in Hillsdale with his wife and their 2 daughters.